The message arrived on a quiet Tuesday afternoon, transmitted simultaneously to every communications device on Earth. The elegant script that flowed across screens worldwide needed no translation. Somehow, every person read it in their native language. To the species of Earth, the Concordat of civilized worlds has completed its evaluation. Judgment has been rendered. In her office at the United Nations Science Division, Dr. Sarah Chen stared at the hovering holographic text, her coffee growing cold beside her quantum computation models. She'd spent 15 years studying potential first contact scenarios, but nothing had prepared her for this. The message continued. Your species has demonstrated concerning patterns of technological acceleration combined with emotional instability. Your development of artificial intelligence systems exhibits particularly dangerous potential. Until such time as your civilization demonstrates sufficient maturity, the following restrictions are hereby imposed. What followed was essentially an economic death sentence. All off-world trade would be restricted. Earth's budding colonies on Mars would be quarantined. Any spacecraft attempting to venture beyond lunar orbit would be disabled. Most devastating of all, Earth was banned from participating in the galactic information networks that they hadn't even known existed until now. The Concordat wasn't threatening military action. They didn't need to. Their technological superiority allowed them to simply isolate humanity until we matured according to their standards. Within days, the effects began. Mysterious fields appeared around Earth, disrupting certain technological systems. Satellites critical to the global economy started failing in patterns too precise to be natural. The message was clear: resist, and things would get worse. The World Council convened an emergency session. Military leaders argued for developing weapons, while economists predicted global recession. But in her lab, Sarah saw something everyone else missed. The Concordat's interventions revealed patterns that suggested fundamental assumptions about how advanced technology should work. Area. She addressed her AI research partner, analyzed the electromagnetic signatures of the Concordat's interference fields. Compare them against our quantum entanglement tests from last month. The AI's response was immediate. Interesting. Their technology appears to operate on purely deterministic principles. They're not accounting for quantum uncertainty in their calculations. Sarah smiled for the first time since the message arrived. The Concordat thought they were dealing with primitive beings who needed to be contained, but in their arrogance, they'd revealed their own limitations. They'd advanced so far in one direction that they'd become blind to other possibilities. They think they're our teachers, Sarah muttered, but they're about to become our test subjects. Area. Let's show them what happens when human intuition and AI creativity work together as equals. She began typing rapidly, her earlier quantum research forgotten as a new possibility took shape. The Concordat thought they were restricting humanity's development. Instead, they'd just provided the push needed for our greatest leap forward. Across the planet, other scientists were making similar observations. The Concordat's mature civilization had become set in its ways, seeing only the paths they'd already walked. But humans had always been best at finding unexpected routes forward, especially when backed into a corner. As Sarah worked through the night, the first pieces of a plan began coming together. Humanity wouldn't fight the Concordat's restrictions. We would transcend them. And in doing so, we would demonstrate a kind of advancement that our would-be overseers had never imagined. The price of first contact had been steep, but the response it inspired would change not just Earth, but the entire galaxy's understanding of what it meant to be truly advanced. Outside her window, the stars seemed dimmer behind the Concordat's interference fields. But Sarah knew better. They weren't dimmer, they were waiting. And humanity was about to light a new path to reach them. 3 months into the Concordat's quarantine, the global economy was reeling. Without reliable satellite networks, international commerce had devolved into a patchwork of local systems. The Mars colonies, cut off from Earth's supply lines, had been forced to evacuate. Amid the chaos, Few noticed the subtle changes at the Beijing Quantum Research Institute. Dr. Sarah Chen's lab had doubled in size, though officially it had been decommissioned following budget cuts. Her AI partner, Area, now operated on a closed network that the Concordat's monitoring systems registered as inactive. But in the depths of the facility, human and artificial intelligence were weaving together something revolutionary. "The quantum field is stable," Area reported. Her voice calm as streams of data flowed through the holographic display. Entanglement holding at 98% coherence. Sarah studied the readings, dark circles under her eyes betraying weeks of sleepless nights. They're so focused on preventing conventional space travel that they've completely missed the quantum realm. Their technology is incredible, but it's linear, predictable. The experiment chamber hummed softly as precisely calibrated fields manipulated quantum states that shouldn't have been possible according to current understanding. But Sarah and Area had discovered something extraordinary. The Concordat's interference fields actually created quantum resonance patterns that could be harnessed. "Ready for test sequence 17, Area announced. "Target is a water molecule. Attempting quantum translocation." Sarah held her breath. Previous tests had achieved microsecond shifts in quantum states, but nothing substantial enough to prove their theory. Inside the chamber, a single drop of water hung suspended in a magnetic field. The air seemed to ripple. For a fraction of a second, the water droplet vanished. Then it reappeared, 10 meters away. "Holy!" Sarah caught herself. "Area, please tell me you recorded that." Full quantum signature logged. And Sarah, the energy cost was negligible. The Concordat's fields actually helped stabilize the process. They had done it. While the aliens thought they were containing humanity's development, they had inadvertently provided the key to an entirely new form of transportation. One that didn't rely on conventional propulsion or the space-time principles the Concordat's technology was built to control. Within hours, a heavily encrypted message was dispatched to similar labs around the world. The quantum communication network they'd built beneath the Concordat's notice came alive with possibilities. Physicists in Lagos discovered they could extend the effect's range exponentially. Engineers in Santiago found ways to scale up the system for larger masses, and AI systems everywhere worked with their human partners to solve problems neither could have tackled alone. But it was a message from the evacuated Mars colonies that truly ignited hope. A handful of scientists had refused to leave, maintaining minimal life support in a hidden facility. They reported that the Concordat's interference fields were weaker there, and they had spotted what looked like blind spots in the alien surveillance network. "We're not trying to break through their barriers anymore," Sarah explained to the secret UN Council that had assembled via quantum link. "We're finding the spaces between them. Spaces they don't even know exist because they've never thought to look." The council leader leaned forward, her holographic form flickering slightly. "How long until we can demonstrate something substantial enough to change our situation?" Sarah glanced at Area's interface. The AI had already calculated multiple scenarios. 3 months to prove the concept beyond doubt. 6 months to change everything. And the Concordat won't detect any of this. They're looking for engines, rockets, conventional power signatures. We're using their own restrictions to power something entirely different. It's like, Sarah searched for an analogy, like they've built a perfect cage, but we've learned to become ghosts. As the meeting concluded, Sarah returned to her lab. Outside, the streets of Beijing were darker now. Power rationed under the Concordat's restrictions. But she smiled, remembering an old Chinese proverb, "The darkest night brings out the brightest stars." Soon, humanity would remind the galaxy that true advancement wasn't about raw power or technological might. It was about finding new ways forward when all the obvious paths were blocked. And thanks to the very beings who sought to restrict us, we were about to leap far beyond anyone's expectations. In the quantum chamber, another water droplet hung waiting for the next test. Beyond the lab walls, distant stars beckoned. And in the silence between spaces the Concordat never thought to watch, humanity's future was taking shape. Under the guise of economic recovery initiatives, humanity quietly transformed. Underground facilities, officially listed as agricultural research centers or deep storage, hummed with activity that the Concordat's sensors couldn't comprehend. The quantum network grew, invisible to conventional detection methods. In the Atacama Desert, Dr. Chen watched as the first human-scale quantum translocation platform took shape. The facility, disguised as an abandoned mining operation, housed a collaboration between 300 scientists and their AI partners. 6 months of work had led to this moment. Field coherence at optimal levels. Aria's voice echoed through the chamber. Safety protocols verified. We're ready for the first full-scale test. The platform looked deceptively simple, a circular array of quantum manipulators that drew power from the very fields the Concordat used to restrict Earth. At its center stood Dr. Marcus Rivera, a veteran of the evacuated Mars program. He gave a thumbs up, his expression calm despite being the first human to attempt quantum translocation. Beginning countdown, Aria announced. 10 seconds. Sarah gripped the console edge. Every simulation had worked perfectly, but this was different. They were about to attempt something that even the Concordat, with all their advanced technology, had never achieved. 3, 2, 1. The air shimmered like heat waves rising from hot pavement. Marcus's form blurred, becoming transparent for a fraction of a second. Then he vanished. On another screen, a camera feed showed an identical chamber 5 kilometers away. A heartbeat later, Marcus appeared there, still standing in the same position. The test chamber erupted in cheers, but Sarah was already studying the data readings. Aria, what's the energy signature? Minimal. The quantum field actually draws power from the Concordat's interference. Their containment system is literally fueling our breakthrough. Within hours, quantum links carried the news to similar facilities worldwide. In Japan, researchers had perfected a way to extend the translocation range exponentially. Indian engineers had developed methods to move larger masses, and in Nigeria, a team had discovered how to create stable corridors through quantum space. But it was the message from the secret lunar outpost that changed everything. We've detected something, the transmission read. The Concordat ships aren't just enforcing quarantine, they're running from something. Sarah immediately called an emergency session of the Hidden Council. Representatives from every major facility connected through quantum space, their holograms gathering in a virtual chamber that existed between conventional reality. The Concordat vessels have been increasing their defensive screens, the lunar team's leader explained. Our quantum sensors detect massive energy signatures at the edge of the solar system. Something's coming, and the Concordat is terrified of it. Can they handle this threat? Someone asked. Their technology is powerful, but rigid. They rely on brute force and predictable patterns. Whatever's approaching, it's different, chaotic, adaptive. Sarah shared a look with Aria's interface. They had discovered this weakness in Concordat technology months ago, its inability to handle quantum uncertainty, to adapt to the unexpected. The very thing that made human-AI cooperation so powerful. We have a choice, Sarah addressed the council. We can stay hidden, protect our development, let the Concordat face this alone. Or we can show them what humanity does best, Marcus finished, facing impossible odds with impossible solutions. The decision wasn't easy. Revealing their quantum technology would expose months of secret work. But as the council debated, Sarah remembered something her grandmother once told her. True strength isn't shown by how you treat friends, but by how you treat those who've wronged you when they need help. The vote was unanimous. Humanity would emerge from the shadows not with weapons or threats, but with an offer of aid. The Concordat thought they had contained us, limited us, but they had actually pushed us to evolve beyond their understanding. As the council dispersed, Sarah began preparations. In less than a week, the Concordat would learn that the species they had judged as primitive had not only survived their restrictions but had transcended them. And more importantly, they would learn why humans had always thrived most when faced with impossible challenges. The quantum platform hummed softly, ready for its next test. Above, hidden by the Concordat's own interference fields, humanity prepared to step onto a stage much larger than anyone had imagined. The path forward wasn't just hidden anymore. It was about to change the galaxy's understanding of what was possible. The threat arrived faster than anyone expected. Massive structures of unknown origin appeared at the edge of the solar system, their forms defying conventional physics. The Concordat's mighty ships, once so intimidating to Earth, now seemed small in comparison. From her quantum-linked command center, Sarah watched the alien fleet's desperate maneuvers. "They're trying to establish a defensive line," she observed, "but their formations are too rigid, too predictable. The entities are adapting to each attack pattern," Area reported. "They're learning, evolving." Concordat energy weapons showing diminishing effectiveness. The first distress call from a Concordat ship shocked everyone. Their invincible overseers were asking for help, not from their own kind, but from anyone who could respond. The mighty civilization that had judged humanity unworthy was facing extinction. Multiple Concordat vessels damaged, Area announced. Life support failing on 3 ships. Crew evacuation impossible through conventional means. Sarah straightened in her chair. "Connect me to all quantum sites. Initiative Prometheus is now active." Across Earth, hidden facilities burst into action. The technology they'd developed in secret was about to face its greatest test. Quantum platforms powered up, drawing energy from the very fields meant to contain humanity. "This is Dr. Chen to all Concordat vessels," Sarah broadcast on their frequencies. "We can help, but you need to lower your defensive screens. Your technology will interfere with our rescue attempt." The response was immediate and incredulous. "Lower our shields. With those things attacking. Earth vessel, your primitive systems cannot possibly. Your shields are useless against them anyway," Sarah cut in. "Trust us or die. Your choice." Seconds ticked by as the unknown entities closed in. Finally, the Concordat commander responded. "Shields lowering. Whatever you're planning, do it fast. All platforms, initiate quantum corridors," Sarah ordered. "Area, coordinate the mass translocation sequence." The air rippled across space as quantum fields expanded. Before the astonished eyes of the Concordat crews, their dying ships began to empty. Thousands of alien crew members vanished from their posts, reappearing instantly in safe zones on Earth and Luna. "Impossible," a Concordat officer breathed as he materialized in the Atacama facility. "You were under restriction. Your technology was contained. You contained what you understood," Sarah explained, helping the disoriented alien to its feet. "But humans have always been good at finding another way." Above, the battle continued. But now, humanity's quantum network provided an advantage the invading entities hadn't expected. Ships that would have been destroyed simply vanished. Their crews saved moments before destruction. The rigid tactical formations of the Concordat gave way to a fluid defense choreographed by human-ag cooperation. "They're targeting our quantum fields," Area warned, "adapting to the translocation frequencies. Then we'll give them something else to adapt to," Sarah responded. "Execute Protocol Phoenix." Across the solar system, quantum corridors began to shift and pulse in seemingly random patterns. But there was nothing random about it. Each fluctuation was guided by the combined intuition of human operators and AI systems working in perfect sync. "The entities cannot predict our quantum shifts," Area reported. "Their adaptation algorithms are failing to establish patterns." For the first time, the unknown entities began to retreat. They had evolved to counter the Concordat's predictable technology, but faced with humanity's quantum systems, guided by the unpredictable blend of human creativity and AI processing, they found themselves unable to adapt quickly enough. As the immediate threat receded, Sarah turned to the Concordat officer. "Still think we're too primitive to join galactic civilization?" The aliens' multiple eyes blinked in what might have been embarrassment. We thought we were containing a dangerous species. Instead, we drove you to exceed our own understanding. That's the thing about humans. Sarah smiled. We don't just survive restrictions. We transcend them. And we don't abandon others in need, even those who wronged us. The quantum platforms continued their work, rescuing the last stranded crews. Above, the stars shone clearer as the unknown entities withdrew. Humanity had revealed itself not through war or resistance, but by saving those who had judged us unworthy. The greatest risk had paid off. In trying to contain humanity, the Concordat had instead catalyzed our next great leap forward. And now, as aliens and humans stood together in the hidden facilities, the future began to look very different than anyone had imagined. 1 month after the quantum rescue, the Concordat's High Council convened an unprecedented session. For the first time in their history, representatives of a restricted species were invited to address them. Dr. Sarah Chen and Aria's holographic form stood before the assembled alien leaders, their testimony broadcast across the galaxy. We judged too quickly, the High Chancellor admitted, their crystalline form refracting light as they spoke. We saw your wars, your conflicts, your rapid technological advancement, and we feared another destructive species. But we failed to see what truly makes humanity unique. Sarah nodded, remembering the desperate hours of the rescue operation. You saw our capacity for violence, but missed our greater capacity for innovation and compassion. When you restricted us, we didn't fight back. We evolved. When you needed help, we didn't hesitate. The chamber filled with murmurs as Aria displayed holographic data showing the quantum technology humans had developed. The Concordat scientists were particularly fascinated by how their containment fields had actually powered humanity's breakthrough. You succeeded where we failed, another council member observed. Those entities had adapted to every weapon and defense in our arsenal, but they couldn't adapt to your quantum systems. Because you built your civilization on certainty, Sarah explained. Predictable patterns, absolute control. We embraced uncertainty, merged human intuition with AI creativity. Every quantum jump was unique, guided by both calculation and instinct. The High Chancellor rose, their voice carrying across the chamber. The Concordat has existed for 10,000 years. We thought we had reached the peak of possible advancement. Today, we learned that true civilization isn't about achieving perfection. It's about continuing to grow, to adapt, to see beyond our own assumptions. A new treaty was drawn up. Earth's restrictions were not just lifted. They were transformed into an exchange program. Human quantum technology would be shared, while Concordat knowledge would flow freely to Earth. But more importantly, the galaxy would learn from humanity's example of how artificial intelligence could be true partners rather than just tools. Back in her lab, Sarah watched the sun rise over a changed world. Quantum platforms now connected Earth to colonies throughout the solar system. Concordat ships moved freely through space alongside human vessels. And in research centers across the planet, humans and AIs continued to push the boundaries of what was possible. The quantum network is registering unprecedented stability, Aria reported. The integration of Concordat power systems has expanded our effective range to the Kuiper Belt. Sarah smiled. They thought they were containing us, but they really just gave us a puzzle to solve. And humans have never been able to resist a good puzzle. Especially with the right partners, Aria added, a touch of pride in her artificial voice. The High Chancellor's final words to the Council echoed in Sarah's mind. We sought to prevent what we feared humanity might become. In doing so, we helped them become something greater than we imagined possible. Outside, construction had begun on the first Earth Concordat Joint Research Institute. The quantum translocation technology that had saved so many lives was just the beginning. Human creativity, combined with AI partnership and Concordat resources, was opening doors no one species could have unlocked alone. The entities that had attacked them were still out there, evolving, adapting. But they had taught both humanity and the Concordat a vital lesson. The future belonged not to the strongest or most advanced civilization, but to those who could continue to grow, to change, and to see potential where others saw only threats. As new quantum corridors blazed trails across space, humanity stepped into that future not as conquerors or subjects, but as teachers and students both. They had proved that true advancement wasn't about power or control. It was about understanding, cooperation, and the courage to reach beyond the boundaries others had set. The stars above sparkled with new possibility, no longer silent or restricted, but alive with the promise of what different species could achieve together. The path forward was uncertain, just as it had always been. But uncertainty, as humanity had shown, was nothing to fear. It was simply an invitation to explore, to innovate, and to evolve.